My name is Lila. Hi, my name is Olivia.
It's a rite of passage for children their age.
I'm 6. I'm 6. I'm 6.
Not just reading, but actually living out the classic Dr. Seuss story, Green Eggs and Ham.
So, Maya, we're gonna turn our eggs green. Okay?
Donning chef's hats and aprons, the kids stir up the eggs, drop in the green food coloring, then help assist as their teacher cooks them in the frying pan and serves them up to the class.
I do not eat them here or there. I do not eat them anywhere.
But this classic lesson isn't being taught in kindergarten, or even at a school for that matter, but at Idea Lab Kids in Ballantyne.
There wasn't anything as comprehensive as Idea Lab Kids.
The Houston-based company is a STEAM-focused learning center for kids ages 4 to 14, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
What really pivoted me to actually choose Idea Labs were the actual activities that they have in place.
The new Ballantyne location, the first in Charlotte, is owned and operated by Casal and Tanisha Chia, a husband and wife combo that individually and together have lived seemingly everywhere.
I'm from Connecticut originally.
I was born in Cambodia,
I went to college down in Atlanta, Georgia.
immigrated to Southern California,
And then my first job out of grad school, I moved to Kentucky.
spent my adult life in Seattle,
And then I moved to California. And then I went to London. Then I went back to California.
went back to California, married Tanisha.
Then we moved to Tampa, Florida. And then from Tampa, we moved here.
Tanisha was crowned Miss Georgia in 2005 and has spent her working career in marketing for a number of national restaurant chains. Casal spent nearly 2 decades working in education, but everything changed with the birth of their twin sons 3 years ago. Right around the same time, they moved to Charlotte.
I was Googling franchises that I can spend time with my kids or businesses that I can spend time with my kids and found Idea Lab.
So we flew to Houston where there are some centers there, loved the concept.
And realized that this was actually a perfect mesh of the two of us.
Based on her marketing experience and my educational background, we thought that was a perfect melding of our skill set.
Leaving their full-time jobs behind and taking money out of their retirement savings, the Chias invested several $100,000, turning what used to be a bank into a multi-classroom learning center. But just as they signed the lease early last year, the world came to a grinding halt.
It was like a tidal wave that was coming, and we really did sit down and have like a hard think, like should we do this?
You know, we were nervous because kids have to be in the space.
We trusted God. We're Christians, and we prayed on it, trusted God, made some educated financial decisions, and took the leap.
They opened the center last June, starting with camps, teaching kids about things like coding and robotics. But what really caught on was Casal teaching free online classes broadcast from his kitchen. Viewership steadily increased.
Getting the word out by being free and providing a service to people and being a resource for people during that time, I think really helped to get our word out.
And at the end of the summer, as parents started to shift to the school year, they basically said, are you going to support remote learning? So we pivoted to do remote learning support.
What presented itself was an opportunity to serve our community and to be a place where kids could come and do their remote learning.
Helping with remote learning, as well as implementing their own programs, Idea Lab Kids now serves about 30 to 35 kids each day.
I love this place. We get to do enrichments when we're not in school, and they help us with school and all kinds of stuff.
So we have 5 distinct classrooms. There's visual arts, there's a maker space where there's engineering and electronics, a tech room for coding, 3D printing, movie making, culinary arts kitchen, kids learn how to bake and be safe in the kitchen, and a science investigations room where they do things from biology to chemistry to medical veterinary sciences.
So I knew that my daughter would actually be engaged with these types of activities.
There are other educational concepts here in Charlotte, but they mostly focus on one area or one kind of discipline. And what we loved about this is that this was multidisciplines.
They learn how to collaborate, they learn how to problem solve, they learn how to work out through disappointments and failures and pick up their projects and do it again. So those are great skills that we're preparing our kids for the future for.
Leaving their previous careers behind, raising 3-year-old twins, and starting a new business, all in the middle of a pandemic. It sure has been a wild ride.
I fundamentally believe that anybody who started a new business during this pandemic and is still around and has survived it will continue to thrive, because the skill set and the pivots that you had to make during this time will only benefit you when things are great and easy again.
But a wild ride that's allowing themselves, their careers, and their family to only keep growing stronger. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
We hope you enjoyed the story. If you don't want to miss any more great stories about the Charlotte region, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.